Right. So thank you all for joining. We have got about 15 people on the call, and welcome to virtual ServiceNow Developer Melbourne Meetup. And this is for Q2. So we had an in-person meetup in Q1, but just for some personal commitments, I had to organize this one as a virtual one. And going forward as well, Q3, I'm already in talking with ServiceNow. We'll be having that at ServiceNow's office, and most likely Q4 as well, like a end of year happy hour meetup. And myself, Ishan. So I'm a certified technical architect working with Third Era. I've been with the ServiceNow for about 5 years now, 8 years into IT, and love working with the platform. And today we have also got two speakers with us. So we've got Chandralok Mishra and Shruti. So I'll let them give their introduction. So Chandra, would you like to give a quick introduction about yourself? Speaking on mute.
Okay, occupational hazard. Hello everyone, my name is Chandralok Mishra. I work as a solution architect in Third Era. Isha invited us to come in this session and share our knowledge, share the knowledge amongst each of us. So thanks for bringing me here, Isha.
Yeah, thanks for monitoring Chandra. And Chandra is a gun portal guy in our company, and he's also the the good at in the ITAM side of things, Sam. So yeah, that's why he's here to talk about employee centered with us today. And Shruti.
Hi everyone, good evening. I'm Shruti Ahuja. I'm currently Director of BPMO at Third Era. Started my career as Associate Consultant, and I've been working in IT over a decade and with ServiceNow for almost 6 years now. Have been fortunate enough to work on a lot of different modules, and here we are to talk about ServiceNow. So thanks, Ishan, for inviting me and giving me this opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you, Shruti. And why Shruti is here today is I've been a lot of people have been reaching me out to and asking if we can have a session that's focused on business analysts. So that's why Shruti is here to talk through how you can progress your career as a ServiceNow business analyst. Moving on to the next one. So this is the agenda today. So we'll be doing a quick round of introductions. So we've got like 10-15 people should be fine, and then I'll be passing on to Chandra to deep dive into employee center. So he'll be sharing his knowledge, also giving a walkthrough demo. Like I'll leave that up to Chandra, and then I'll be doing like a sort of Q&A with Shruti. I'll be asking her some questions and let her share her nuggets of knowledge as well. And then at the end of the session, we'll also have some Q&A and then wrap up. All right. So we're not going to thank you right now. So I'll stop sharing, and like if we can start with a quick round of introduction. So starting with you, Anubhav. Start with you, Chris. You've turned your camera on. You're on the top of the list.
Sorry. I knew. Chris Honig from Telstra Purple, solution architect there. I was on the CTA course with Ishan, and mostly work with federal government.
Thank you, Chris. And
my partner, sorry, by the way.
Yeah, no worries, Anubhav. Can you go now?
Yes. Yeah, hi all. I'm Anubhav Ritolia and I'm from Pune, India. So I have around 8 years of experience, and I'm quite active on community. So I'm also a rising star of 2023. I'm also organizer of ServiceNow Pune Meetup, and I really like and enjoy to attend any such meetups or any rise up events and all. So that's it, I guess, for now.
Awesome. Thank you, Anubhav, for joining us from India. So Martin.
Hello, it's Martin here. So I'm joining far away from Australia. Actually, I live in Bulgaria, which is in Europe, a small country here. I work for Deloitte. This year I'm double MVP, and I'm also waiting for my CTA to be confirmed. I just completed the course. I am joining because of Ishan. I was invited. We had some good communication recently, so I'm happy to be here.
Thank you, Martin. Thank you for joining. Suman.
Thanks, Ishan. Something's wrong with my background, so I'll stop my video, but I'll continue talking. Anyways, so I'm an engagement manager at Enable. I've been on the platform for I don't know how long. I don't care to remember now, but anyways, I'm a ServiceNow enthusiast, and I can't rave enough about the platform. So that's why I'm here, keen to learn from everyone on the call.
Nice. Thank you so much. Thank you for joining. Madhav? No voice.
Hello everyone. Yeah, this is Manas. So I'm working here in Singapore. So it is good that last 2-3 days back I was going through the Meetup and I got to know about this session. And thanks everyone. You're going to share definitely some good things. And I'm working here in Panasonic in Singapore, and we are in the middle of the implementation. We are migrating from our existing application to ServiceNow. So I'm really looking for some of the good information about the ServiceNow. Yeah, and yeah, thanks everyone. I look forward to join more session. Yeah.
Yep. Thanks, Manas. And there's a Singapore meetup happening as well on 28th. So
I have joined there. After I joined there, then I got to know about this session.
awesome.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right. So Nimisha.
Right. Hi, everyone. I'm Namisha. I've been working as a ServiceNow business analyst for almost 2 years now, and just got to know about this session. I'm quite intrigued. I'd like to learn as much as I can. Thank you so much, everyone.
Awesome. Thank you. Shreyas.
Hey, hi Nishan. First of all, it's a great pleasure to be the part of this event. Thanks a lot for organizing such event. I'm being a part of ServiceNow since last 1 year. I'm working with ServiceNow at the moment. So it's really a great pleasure, to be honest, using ServiceNow in day-to-day life. And yeah, I'm looking forward to learn more from the platform itself, because it's such a wide platform, and getting expertise in one specific thing is really a tough challenge, I would say. And yeah, I'm looking forward to gain some good insights from this session as well. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Shreyas. Lana. Okay.
Sorry, I'm here. I couldn't find the unmute button. Thank you. I am from Federa, working with the guys presenting, and I am a business process consultant working at Sportsbet customer, and I'm interested to learn and know more from the experts today. So I'm keen to know what's going on and keep current. And thank you for organizing this event.
Welcome, Lana. Thank you. iPhone WL, so not sure what the name is. Okay, maybe a silent assassin. So Shivam Dubey.
That's just Siri.
Chat GPT generative AI. Shivam Dubey.
Hey, hi Ishan, hi everyone. So I'm from Hyderabad, having some ServiceNow experience of last 6 or 7 years. So we are in a journey of actually moving our entire thing to the CC Pro and EC Employee Center. So that is something good. And probably if you can somehow ponder towards how this experience looks into the mobile version also. We are from a gaming company actually based out in Hyderabad. So we are looking forward. Yeah.
Awesome. I think we have covered everyone. Madhav.
Hey, hi Ishan. I'm one of the active member in that Slack community. I got to know from that Slack community about this meetup. So I had total of more than 8 years of service experience as a
Nice.
developer.
Nice. Thank you. All right. So without wasting any time, I think Chandra, I'll pass it on to you to basically start with the deep dive into Employee Center.
Thanks, Ishan. Do you want to record this or is it fine?
Yeah, we are recording. Yeah.
Okay, that's good. Start sharing my screen. Let me know if you all can see my screen.
Yes,
Yeah,
we can.
we can see the screen.
Awesome, cool. So I quickly installed Employee Center Pro just to show the features of Employee Center Pro as well with the standard Employee Center. So before Employee Center was released, actually I was working on one of the project where this idea was brought into life, where lots of the time what used to happen is there was no center or there was no place in a portal where one could go and see all the contents linked together. By that, what I mean is, if I have to, as a user, if I go to the portal and I'm looking for a certain content, what I would do in old portal was either I'll go to the catalog category or I'll go to the knowledge category. And the categorization of the knowledge base or catalogs had to be done in a way that it made sense, but not always this category would look similar or would be labeled similar for both knowledge as well as catalog. And that was a pain point for many of our customers as well in the past. So what Employee Center does is it gives us the concept of taxonomy, where rather than creating catalog categories or knowledge categories, we can curate the content based on the taxonomy. And these taxonomies are then further divided into topics and subtopics. And these topics are the link between different contents. So now if the requester jumps onto the Employee Center portal, the taxonomy that has been mapped with Employee Center and the topics that are part of this taxonomy would be labeled in a way that it would make sense to the user based on where they want to go. So let's say if I am on the Employee Center portal and I'm looking to raise a request for a laptop. As soon as I land on this one, and if I'm unaware of what and where do I have to go in this portal, either I'll be directly searching as laptop. So 50% of the time people will be searching, or I'll be going into these menu items, right? Now my task, my request definitely gives us an idea that this is not the place that I'll have to go. But if I click on IT, this is somewhere where I'll be looking into, and I'll be seeing that because I need to raise a request for a laptop, I think hardware would make sense. And I think if I go in computer, I may find a form or some way to raise a request for my laptop. Earlier, that was not the case because the home page or the landing page was not shown or was not presented in a way where it's employee centric. It was scattered across multiple pages. So if I go into the IT topic, the subtopics that are created are, and this is the demo data, by the way, that I've installed from the plugins itself. This has been divided into hardware, software, network, privacy and security, and each of the topics are further divided into subtopics called computer, printer, accessories, phones, and mobility. Now, this is very good because ServiceNow provides this demo data, which can be a reference point for any developer or any solution architect to go and discuss with customers on how to further segregate these data, or at least we would know that we have got hardware, software, network. Do we want to add more topics and subtopics? And if these subtopics doesn't make sense, we can change the label and all those things of these subtopics as well. But then most of the times when we are migrating, or when the customer usually will get a projects like customer wants to move from portal to employee center. And the biggest concern over there is it's okay that we can now divide or relabel the entire portal into topics and subtopics. But how about our existing catalog category, knowledge category, which people are used to navigating, and then now all of a sudden there is a huge change. How would they react? Will they adopt to this huge change or not? So usually that's where either the quick links or these menu items play a vital role in presenting such links, like going to a catalog homepage or going to your knowledge homepage, and slowly moving that, or rolling that out, rather than simply removing the entire catalog page or catalog homepage or knowledge homepage. It's better to give those links. The contents that are connected with these topics are articles. I'm sorry for that. Are articles, knowledge, the knowledge articles, the catalog items, and the quick links. And the layout can be decided. And when I say layout, that means whenever someone goes and clicks on any of the topic, the page that is linked to that particular topic can be decided in the backend. And that way, what we can do is we can have a dedicated page for each of our topics and subtopics. Now, this feature is available out of the box in Employee Center Pro, but we can make it available in Employee Center as well, which would need a small customization, but can be done. Another good feature which Employee Center Pro gives is targeted communication or targeted content publishing. So apart from what we have here in the homepage, what we can do is we can make this Employee Center a place where whenever someone lands in, they can see some of the communication or campaigns that's going on in the company or in their department or in their unit, and they can get a knowledge of it. So if we see the demo data over here, there are two contents that has been published as part of the campaign, where it says what to know before traveling and welcome back to the office. Sorry, was that a question?
No, I think someone was on mute.
Okay.
I think there was one
now,
question. Sorry, Chandra, there is one question on the chat from Anubhav, which he's asking, is there any easy and less time consuming way to migrate from old portal, for example, service portal, to ESC or ESC Pro?
Okay, so Anubhav, there's no, it won't be like a click of button which would migrate everything from portal to EC Pro. But we can reuse all the pages that are present in the portal, and we can use those pages into Employee Center Pro as well. But the concept of Employee Center has to be communicated better rather than trying to redesign or trying to moving the older portal into Employee Center. So sort of you'll have all the pages, everything that you would have in the old portal into Employee Center as well. It's just that how do you curate your content and show it to the employee in a manner that would make sense to them. right? So you can reuse your catalog homepage or knowledge homepage. You can reuse any custom pages that you might have used, because you might know that a page is not directly linked to a portal. A page can be used in any portal. So you can reuse those pages, but it's essential to have a discussion or to at least start with converting your catalog categories and knowledge categories into topics. So if you want to create a taxonomy for employees, and if you want, if one struggles with what are the topics and subtopics that I should give, you can mimic the category and subcategory that you might have created in the catalog or knowledge, at least the ones that sound similar in both bucket. As in, a category called hardware might be in article and category called hardware might be in catalog as well. So you can pick that label as and convert it into a topic. And then what ServiceNow provides is in the backend, if I have to go and create a topic. So if I go and see this, I go and open the taxonomy. IT taxonomy, IT topic. What I can do is either I can add or remove content from a particular category. So when I click on this one, it will open a modal window where I can select which category catalog item should be part of this particular topic. So let's say if I have to add all the catalog items from hardware category into a child topic called hardware, it is easy for me to do so by using this link. And I can go and search hardware, and I can move that hardware on this side and then save it. What that will do is that will add the catalog, all the catalog items that was part of the catalog category called hardware into this topic. And then from there, you can go ahead and say, this catalog item does not make sense in hardware category or in hardware topic, and you can sort of either add or remove more content. You can do the same thing for the knowledge articles as well, and you can add some quick links. Now, from the quick links point of view, there are two types of widgets that are used to show a quick link. One is this widget where I can add quick link that can be configured in the backend, and all I have to do is simply use those quick links in my widget with the help of instance options. So what this can do is, most of the older portals used to have 3 tiles over here, where it was common culture of keeping request something, knowledge article, and some common tiles on the home page. Now you wouldn't have those tiles, but what you can do is you can use quick links and present those tiles in the quick links. And now this is easily configurable in the backend rather than a need of a developer who has a portal knowledge to go and customize a widget and then add a background image, add a label, or add certain links, because it was limited to, first, we have to use instance option to, I would say, to enter the details of each of the tiles. And second, if we needed or if we had a requirement of adding a background image or making some layout changes, that would be done either by customizing the widget, or if someone has a good CSS skill, they would do that. But now what I can do is I can quickly go into quick links. And if I go into quick links, I can create a new quick link where it will ask me what type of content is this. Is this a knowledge article, catalog item, a page, or external link? So I can select any of them. This will bring in knowledge article field. And I'll go and select a knowledge article. I'll give a quick link name. I'll give it a title. I'll give background image, short description, and icon. And then I can select this quick link in the instance options in this widget. So that way we can reuse quick links wherever we have a requirement of showing some tiles or showing links with icons, right? We can change the behavior or the presentational behavior of how this would look like. If we want to call it quick links, we want to call it something else, we can do that. If we want to change the display style of these cards, we can change that as well. We can say whether card tile size should be medium, small, that we can do that. Should the card content align at the center or left or right? That can be done. Do we want to show icon image? Do we want to show background image display? Do we have to include the description? So there has been more configurable options that has been provided as part of instance options. And it gives a load configuration as well, whether we have to load it asynchronously or synchronously. Any questions so far?
Please feel free to unmute and ask any questions if you have. Otherwise, we are good, Chandra.
Chandralok,
Yeah.
what is the meaning of asynchronous loading and synchronous loading? Can you just explain in
So when so from the Angular point of view, all the widgets are nothing but Angular directives or a custom directive that, or I'd say a directive that ServiceNow has created. And then when ServiceNow is asking ServiceNow server to load some data, it's saying that don't wait until I receive the data. So how that can be done is until and unless client asks, and by client what I mean is the client side web client asks the server about certain data, don't load that data. So the way in which we write code in widgets are, we write HTML, we write client controller, we write server side. In server side, whatever code that we write would execute every time when the page loads. If we don't want that to happen, we would say that don't load every time whenever the page loads, load only if I ask you to load. And that can be achieved with a certain coding standard, where I can say that I can write in my HTML, in my client controller, that whenever the page has been loaded, then go and load, then go and execute the code. And that code would be asking server with some data. And that's how we achieve the asynchronous loading of data in any of the widget, irrespective of what widget it is, but we can achieve that. Does that make sense?
Yes, thank you. And what is synchronous loading means? As soon as data comes, it will load straight away without asking, right?
Every time. So it's like every time I load a page or every time I do a certain actions which would interact, which would initiate an interaction with the server, all the server side code written in the widget would execute once again. So okay. we add a logic in the service side. So this is the server side code in the widget. Now anything at any point of time, if client or HTML or whatever refreshes the server script, all this line of code will be executed.
Okay.
Now think about this. If you want to load, if you know that I want to load quick links, and I know that I don't want quick links to be loaded again and again because they won't change.
Mm-hmm.
Once I have loaded the quick links, I don't want these quick links to be loaded again and again. So I can write here that if options.load config is equal to asynchronous, and if there is no input, return back, don't execute anything. So until unless client asks server that run your server script with input that has been passed from client into server, and that input would be called load config, and the value of that input is async, the code written down here wouldn't execute. And that saves a lot of time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
So that's how we achieve asynchronous behavior of a widget. Second good thing about Employee Center is because we are connecting first a page, second catalog items, third knowledge articles, fourth quick links with one single topic, this can act as a intranet in ServiceNow world, or like a SharePoint site. The advantage is this will be dynamic rather than in comparison to SharePoint or other internet websites where they are nothing but links. So that's one of the biggest advantage. And then the ownership of each topic can be given to individual department or individual unit. And they can decide how their topic landing page should look like, what image should go on the header, what image should go on the other subtopics in their topics. All those things they can decide. This also solves another problem where in every company that I've seen or any project that I've seen in the past, when there was no employee center, every company used to have like 20, 30 portals. And the reason was we don't want to share data, or we don't want to share same portal. Without having an understanding that there's no point in creating multiple portals. Even in older way of having a portal would solve this problem of having multiple pages which could be controlled by or which could be defined by individual departments. But that was not pretty clear. But Employee Center is meant to be department specific and employee centric. It gives some out of the box features as well. Like earlier we had to customize the cards to add a favorite feature. Now they have already provided the favorite feature. They provided my active item panel over here, which can be configured in the backend. And the configuration is such that whatever primary configuration that I'll be making primary will be shown as a bigger card. The entire my active item can have only one primary configuration, activity configuration, and other secondary configuration can be shown, and we can label these configuration. We can say that, do you want to show the count or not? And then what should happen when I click on the activity? So that is another way of bringing every item that matters to the requester, or every item that needs requester's attention, or that makes sense to them in terms of what are their requests, what are the incidents that are related to them, any service that are assigned to them, any tasks or to-dos that they might have to do, everything into one panel, so that they need not have to scroll here and then and sort of surf around on the page to understand where I'll have to go to look for my request. And this, the page of my request, one more thing, every page has been recreated in the sense that when Employee Center was introduced, all the common pages that was part of service portal has been recreated by adding a prefix called, if I go and enter my task, sorry, if I go and enter my request, or if I go and say So ESC search became ESC search. Same, we can see that KB category became ESC KB category. Ticket becomes standard ticket, rather than this was already introduced prior to Employee Center. But the reason for that is the theme. So if I go to the theme record, this is the theme that has been attached to the Employee Center portal. And this is the new header and footer that has been attached to the Employee Center portal. And this gives us a more configuration options in terms of having a primary links, as well as having the topics and subtopics, and any extra links that we would want. Like org chart is not a topic, but it's an extra link that we can add in the backend, which would appear over here. But then if you see the CSS variable, and if you compare the CSS variable of this with the older service portal, you'd see there are many more CSS variable added. And this CSS variable gives us a luxury of changing the theme without actually going and customizing the portal. Earlier, it was like for slight change, all we had was branding editor, which does not have many options available to change small things in the portal, which usually we get from our customers when they become too picky. Can the font be 14 pixel? Can the font be 16 pixel? Can we capitalize these things? Can the color of this particular area change? So Employee Center gives many more SAS variables, which we can leverage to change the theme of the portal. So most of the times now, for any projects where we have to make a theme change in Employee Center, very less customization is required, until unless they want to change the entire layout and they want to bring in some funky things on the portal. We are saved by Employee Center in terms of we may not need to customize many things. They have divided my task and my request, and this they have divided in a way that if we would have HRSD activated in the portal, in the instance, this would show all the to-dos that has been assigned to me. And this usually plays in a role if I have a lifecycle event activated, or if I'm using lifecycle event, where a lifecycle event can be a new hire onboarding lifecycle event, where whenever an onboarding journey starts, we would want our new hire to perform certain tasks. Like whenever we are doing a background check, we will want their input, and that can be achieved by publishing a to-dos in this section and providing them the access of Employee Center, a restricted access of Employee Center, and they can go and finish their to-dos, which can then be communicated back to their hiring manager. And that's how this place becomes a common ground for the hiring managers and the new hires to communicate with each other. Any questions so far?
Yes, so we have one question. Any challenges we may face while migrating to EC Pro? Any observations or testing we should do before or
is this? So when you say migration to EC Pro, that means from Service Portal to EC Pro, or Service Portal from EC to EC Pro? Because there are two packages, one Employee Center and another is Employee Center Professional.
Yeah.
So considering you're asking for migration from Service Portal to EC Pro, because that was your previous question.
Yes, correct.
Yeah. So outline your taxonomy properly with your existing categories and subcategories of your catalog and knowledge. Give this impression or explain the concept of Employee Center why Employee Center has been created in a way that it has been created. It has to be employee centric. It should not give a sense of or a vibe of older portal. So not just for the sake of moving from SP to ESC, but for the sake of what benefit is it giving to the end user. And that benefit would be providing a better structure and segregation of the content of the portal, and then also providing an option of going to the previous way of looking into catalog categories and knowledge categories, which is like by providing some link over here, or by providing a quick link, adding a quick link in the home page where they can click on the quick link and go to catalog category page, catalog homepage, or knowledge homepage. So that way they would not feel too, they would not be too worried about why so much has been changed. They would still have a path to navigate to the older pages, but they can slowly get around and introduce themselves with the new Employee Center layout.
Nice.
Hope that answers your question.
Yes.
So, Chandralok, I'm having one more question here. Few minutes ago, you discussed about onboarding process, like creating a request for onboarding process and then automating it on employee service portal. So can we use Flow here, like Flow Designer, as a part of automation? So we can click a link here in the service portal, and that link will trigger that flow, and that flow will consist of various subflows and action, and in action it will give a step-by-step execution plan, and that is the reason reason how it will get it processed automatically. So can we do in that thing as well instead of writing code?
Yes, so all of everything in the portal, the data that we fetch is from the backend, right? And that data would be part of a table, or which, so let's say if I have a lifecycle event activated, what I would do is I would provide a record producer that will, from which I would be requesting all the inputs from the hiring manager about the new hire who's going to join the company. That itself will create a HR case or HR lifecycle event case in the backend. And that lifecycle event case will trigger the lifecycle event in the backend. And that event comprises of activity sets and activities. Each activities can be of type of flow, or it can create its own record, like another child HR case or child HR task. And creation of that task can trigger a flow. That flow can either integrate with third-party system and bring in some data, and that data can be the example of to-dos. It's not necessary that because ServiceNow has provided all these features, companies would all of a sudden get rid of all the tools that they already have and jump onto ServiceNow. They would want to make Employee Center as a one-stop shop for their users, but they would still want to manage the data in their third-party systems. So what can be done is we can bring to-dos, and ServiceNow gives us this feature of pulling to-dos from third-party system and storing it into ServiceNow. And that way they need not have to go to several third-party systems to access their to-dos. This can become their one-stop shop. So yes, by creating a record in the backend which would trigger a flow, we can perform the automation of certain tasks. But it won't happen that there is a link over here and I'm clicking on that link which would trigger a flow. That's not a good architecture, as well as that wouldn't happen. because any link, any click on a link would perform a certain operation. That operation can be either fetching the data from a table or storing the data in the table. That operation of storing the data or fetching the data can trigger its own flow, which can perform a certain task. That makes sense?
Yes, thank you so much.
And then this gives us the AI search feature as well that we can configure in the portal, which was already introduced prior to Employee Center. Nothing related to Employee Center. In the backend, if we go and type in Employee Center, this is the activity configuration where we can define what should happen when someone clicks on each of the active items. So if I go and open this task, you'd see the primary column is true. This primary column true means I can say that task is a primary activity configuration. And I can say that if I would have had tasks, let's say 5 tasks, 5 cards would have appeared below this. So I can see that I've got 9 requests. So just to show it to you guys, what I can do is I'll open these two. I'll go and make this secondary. Now I'll go and make this primary. Now what will happen is if I go and reload this page, primary. Now, if you see that request has been made primary, and the reason and the meaning of that primary is I want to show these cards or the records of the primary configuration because I need the requester or the logged in user to pay attention to these cards. So let's say if an approver logs in and if I want to make approval as a primary activity configuration over here, I can make approval primary activity configuration, and that way they can quickly see all the top 5, and we can configure how many of them we want, top 5 or 10 approval records that needs their attention. So that way in the home page itself, we are showing almost like most of the content which would save an extra click for the end user. I'm showing recommended for you. This is based on machine learning. We are showing popular topics. We are showing quick links. If they want to go to any external link or internal link or any link which is mostly or widely used, can become part of this. I can show any video or contents that I want to show to the customer, to the requester. And if there are any other application like Okta or AD or any other application that people might want to navigate from ServiceNow, we can bring that here as well. And that can be configured in the backend. So none of these things would require a customization to be done. One quick thing, if we go to the topic, these are the configuration that can be done in the topic. Like I can give a name of the topic. I can give a short description of the topic. I can decide what should be the background image of the topic. And I can decide what topic should have a background image or what topic should have just the icon. So if I go and click on hardware and computer, so you can see the computer does not have a layout of a background image. It has a layout of showing an icon with the name of the topic. So that can be achieved with the instance options, where I can say that primary display should be icon or not, secondary display, what should be the secondary display. Select list of topics for which secondary display will be applied rather than primary display. What should be the banner, background, color, and all those things. But if you want to select the image of the topic, that can be done in the backend itself. So if we take the example of hardware topic, we can say that the name of the topic goes over here. The description goes over here. If we choose to show icon rather than background image, what icon should be placed and what should be the banner image? Who is the topic manager and which page this topic should be, which page the user should be navigated to when they click on this particular topic? And do we want this template to be a common template for all the child topics that are part of this parent topic hardware? So we can choose to have dedicated page and layout for each of the topic page, or at least we can have dedicated page for each department, and that department would be nothing but topics, and then subtopics can consume the same layout rather than having individual layouts. This way, a topic can be managed by a certain group of people, and there won't be a clash between multiple departments saying that I want to keep red on the portal, but whereas different departments say I want to put green on the portal. It's like now you have got your own property, do whatever you want. The rest of the things are pretty much similar. It's just the theming of the page has been changed a bit. And I think that's all from my end. I'll quickly see if we have got any question or not.
Yeah, so we have one question. Have there been any changes made to user experience analytics in EC or EC Pro?
Not in the analytics, but EC and EC Pro widgets have the code embedded in it so that they can provide input to the user analytics dashboard. Right, so if we go, I'm not sure if it's activated in my instance or not. No, it's not. But in user analytics dashboard, we can choose to enroll employee center to be part of user analytics. And then most of the widgets of the employee center would have that code which passes the data to the user analytics dashboard.
Nice. Chandra, like one question from me as well. So I've seen at times, customers are concerned about the security, like especially if we are, because if we have just got one employee center for IT, HR, and everyone, and so HR being secure data at times, so teams are not comfortable. Like, any suggestions on that? Like, how should we go about it?
Yeah, so whatever content that they'll be publishing in their own topics, that content should have, they can achieve security by having user criteria on those contents. So let's say if there won't be a user who wouldn't need IT, but just for the example's sake, all I should be seeing is HR stuff, and I shouldn't be seeing any of the IT stuff. The criteria, user criteria of all the contents attached to all the topics and subtopics of IT, I would not match those user criteria. And that way I would not even see IT presented over here. I would only see HR presented over here. But you're right, I've also seen, and this is a common demand from the customers, that I don't want to show IT irrespective of I've got user criteria or not. ServiceNow has not provided that option where we can apply user criteria directly to the topics. That requires a bit of customization, but if we want to achieve security from the data point of view, we might have to add user criteria in all the contents that we are adding to each of the topic. And that way, either the topic will be made visible if at least one of the content item of that particular topic can be viewed by a logged in user. If none of them can be viewed, the entire topic will be hidden.
Right. So yeah, if you have any questions, please feel free to ask. Otherwise, we'll move on to Shruti.
Hi Chandra, one thing Shivam this side. So yeah, this is I think on the same lines. Like in our organizations also, we are also trying to merge this IT, HR, everything into a single portal. But what we are facing a challenge there is like the favorites or the applications, etc. We couldn't use the outer boxes because there might be some different applications that is specific, very much specific to HR, which might not need to show to the IT people. So this is something. Even the functionalities like my favorites, quick links. Not quick click, sorry, my applications. This is something we couldn't distinguish it. Or is there a way like we can actually tag a specific applications or items we favorited to a specific set of users?
Favorites is more like it's my favorite.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not getting the question, because I would go to any of the content. Let's say if I on the home page, and if I go and mark this as my favorite, and then if go mark this as my favorite, and if I go to any of the popular topics, phones and mobility, let's say, if I go and mark this as my favorite, and if you go and check what are the favorites that I have.
So currently, yeah, Chandra, like I say, currently what we are doing is like we don't have a dedicated common portal. We are using EC Pro, one for IT, one for HR. That's the challenge actually. Later on, we have to merge, and the reason why we couldn't have it a single one was this very reason. Like the person just asked the question, we want to have some segregations based on data or something. So currently, we are actually using the same portals for two different areas, one for HR and one for IT.
Having like two different portals, as in like EC HR, ESC IT.
That's correct. Yeah.
Okay.
The employee center itself is being at two places or for two departments.
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, it all comes to having a rigorous session with all the stakeholders. If there is no common agreement that we want a one-stop shop, it's very hard to convince, but might have to present with all the features available in Employee Center, which would give them a satisfaction that, yeah, good level of security will be maintained, even though the portal is common between us. And that there are various options like any content, let's say any catalog item that I'm publishing, I'll have a user criteria. I can apply a user criteria, any widget or any layout that I'm making, any changes that I'm making to any of the pages. I can have user criteria on pages as well. So I can introduce user criteria in pages, and I can say that a particular page would be visible to a particular set of people only, right? So it has to be explained properly, that not, because it will never happen that there is a direct segregation between contents. By that, what I mean is it may happen that I, as an end user, would need to access some of the catalog item from HR, because it will never happen that I don't need any HR service. I would need some HR service, right? That has to be exposed to me. Same works for IT, same works for finance, same works for, I would say, workplace. Yeah, payroll is one of the departments which would not allow or which would not agree with coming together on a one single platform. But rest of the departments, there are common contents that everyone should see. And that can be achieved simply by user criteria. Rest of the contents will be hidden. So like approvals are not being seen. We don't show approvals to end users. That can be done by ACLs and all those things in the backend itself. So any data that we are showing, there are tools that we can use to achieve this level of security that we want.
And one more thing, like the main vision and the main idea for this EC, are we trying to like get away from the knowledge portals that we used to have? Because I don't see anything specific where we can actually derive them through a specific knowledge portal. I think most of the articles are now mapped to, like you said, with taxonomy, but there can be something which might not be like a clear mapping towards an IT. So
yep. So for such places, if you want to present a page, or if you want to present a feature to the end user where they want to go and only surf through the knowledge article available, in that case, it's good to have that KV homepage link over here. Like if I am going to a SharePoint, or if I have to make, I'll give an example. So for health industry, the nurses working in the health industry or the people who are sitting on the reception, they would want to print few things, and they would want to, and those printing, that content can be published in ServiceNow via knowledge article. They would not go and surf through topics and subtopics just to reach out to one knowledge article. For them, it would be easy to present a hierarchy of knowledge, which they can directly see and then click on the knowledge article and print it. So depends on the use case. It's not a hardcore rule that migrate everything from older portal to employee center. It can be hybrid. It's a use case basis. What the audience demands. How are we making their life easy so that they are not spending too much time navigating throughout the portal in search of a content that they need. And that can be achieved with the feedback that we can get from user analytics dashboard, where we can see how much time is being spent on which particular page, or which page is underused. So there won't be, we wouldn't reach to a point where that's it, no more enhancement in the portal. But we can reach to a point where we are showing the content at a right place so that right group of people are satisfied using the portal. And for that, we can use the topics, the taxonomies, we can use the catalog category and subcategory, we can use knowledge category and subcategory, depends on the use case. So it may happen that I might not present a common link of going to a knowledge category and subcategory to everyone. I might show that only to one of the quick links in one of the topic, because people, when they are going on that particular topic, they might have, it would make sense for them to jump onto a knowledge category page. So it has to be derived from the demand that audience would have.
yeah, makes sense.
Right. Thank you, Chandra.
Thanks,
All
Ishan.
right. All right. Anytime. Let's quickly move on to Shruti. Let me, Shruti. So hi Shruti,
Hello.
So we will be going, I've got a couple of questions. I want to be, I want this to be a bit interactive. So I'll be asking you a couple of questions and you can, jump on anything and everything you want with around those questions. So yeah, again, so like, talking about how to develop your career as a ServiceNow BA and, where to go forward with that. So that, there I was already told earlier that I've got some questions around that. So, jumping on to the first question, what drove you into this industry? So as IT industry, not ServiceNow, just IT.
I think it was all luck by chance for me. I did my master's in marketing and I got placed in a IT consulting firm, Infosys in India. And I never thought that I would get into IT just because of my commerce background. But I think if a student from commerce can get into IT, then it's not stopping for anyone to get into ServiceNow or IT for that matter. I was lucky enough to have the opportunity to come to Australia and work on actually two of the major industries here, one being telecom. So I did work with Telstra when they were rolling out the NBN connections. And I was lucky enough to be with them for the rollout of the 4G fixed wireless program. Now, mind you, they were not just related to ServiceNow, but they were more about process and their assurance program. So, you know how you have an issue with your phone or with any of Telstra or NBN connection, how does the life cycle of that ends up with technician knocking at your doorstep? So all of that was in ServiceNow. I think a couple of people on this call have been a part of that program. It was a massive one. Then was again fortunate enough to work with NAB for their ServiceNow rollout. They were on a different tool, which I would not like to name, for their service delivery, but clearly they didn't really find it much efficient. And then they moved on to ServiceNow, and yeah, it was good. Then I've been with Third Era for, actually I completed 4 years just today. So I think I've got experience in range of modules and applications, and that's where I started to explore more about ServiceNow. The moment you think that you know a lot, ServiceNow will introduce another application or another process for you to deep dive into.
Yep.
So you can never know enough. Not sure if that answers your question, Ishan, but
yeah, it does. So yeah, everything.
And do we have someone? I heard, I think Nimisha was from BA background, but I don't know if there are.
Is not here right now, but
yeah,
anyone from
one girl.
BA background, feel free to unmute and let us know.
That's fine. They are techies. They'll know about it.
Yeah, so I think you already covered my next question, which was how did you discover about ServiceNow? So, and you've been in the ecosystem as well for quite a while. So
yes.
So what basically motivated you to focus on your current role, as in going out and about, like anything that thought I should just get it done. I know we are all working, but anything that comes to your mind, it's okay if you.
No, that's fine. I think it's a two-step process, really, for anyone. Just like most of us, we had worked on some different technologies and we got to be on ServiceNow. So, like I said, it's a two-step. It's how I framed in my mind how I need to go about this. And I'll also talk about how do you progress in your career, not when you're not from more of a technical side, or when you're not dealing as a technical consultant or a solution architect. So first thing is ServiceNow, as you know, wide range of processes, workflows, platform that offers you to do anything. I was doing project and portfolio management. Then COVID hit, and ServiceNow was one of the, I think, first platform to offer workplace service or return to work. And the kind, you sort of get curious to know more about what's next. Okay, what's the next problem that ServiceNow is going to solve? And I think just being inquisitive and getting to know more about the product really brought me closer to it. Also, when you're preparing for it, I get asked this question, oh, I'm not from technical background. How would I go about it? So you need to learn and you need to focus on yourself. You need to be detail oriented. And it's not just that you're Googling almost everything, like what do you want to eat for dinner? That's a Google question that you ask. So how to grow in ServiceNow, what are the different modules, how you can learn more about, every information is there. There are wiki pages, and then you've got such ServiceNow forums. Other than that, if you're working with any of ServiceNow partners, you would have access to Now Create, you would have access to Partner Portal. And ServiceNow has been kind enough to map out the entire process journeys, to map out documentation on how do you prepare if you're going for your first workshop, and how do you prepare when you're going for your go live events. So everything is there. I would suggest if anyone is venturing into BA side of it, definitely go through Now Learning. It offers, there's a wide range of offering, and one of them is starter stories. So once you've done your homework on getting to know about that application, have a look at consulting workshops, have a look at starter stories, try to understand what customer is planning to do or what is the problem statement. And you grow from your experience. There would be a point in time when you would be doing an application or for a first time. And then you've got the likes of Chandras who are doing employee center in their dreams. So you would get so professional with it. And yeah, you would know more about it. But the key here is to focus on your development, focus on your learning, be detail oriented. I think that's where I really like personally to venture more on the platform.
Do you like to walk through this Now Create and Now Learning?
I can. Yeah. So let me just bring it up 1 second.
In chat going on. Oh, Shivam is also a BA.
Okay.
Nice.
So I'll bring up my screen. Let me know if you're able to see it.
Yes, we can.
Yeah. So ServiceNow has prepared a nice program in your career journey if you're starting as a BA or a business process analyst. So if you see here, you've got your starting point. And again, not many of you would be at this stage. You can be more at a practitioner or a mid-level business analyst. So they have told you a journey of how to start as an associate. So if I just scroll down here, you would have training artifacts here. You would have foundational courses. You would have courses on, how do you prepare as a business analyst and how do you prepare for ServiceNow business analyst. One of the key factors, and I think everyone starts their career in ServiceNow with, is ITSM. And ITIL is the base foundation for any process consulting that you do, not just related to ITSM. So it's good to know more about ITIL, IT Infrastructure Library. So this talks about that. This is one of the key inputs here. If you see, after you've done your foundation courses in ITIL, and again, I'm not reading all the tiles, but just few of the key ones. Then you've got ServiceNow administration fundamentals, which really helps you to learn the concepts around and what is the jargon that is being used. You get to know, if I oversimplify it, everything is a row and column, and you just need to know how to pull information. but that's oversimplification on my part. So you get to know more about fundamentals, then ITSM bread and butter of any ServiceNow implementation. And then there are certain best practices. It also takes you a journey of what are the sort of interest groups that you should be joining. And again, it's recommendation. Often actually, this is an important one. Often we get asked, oh, the client would say, oh, but I need to replace this field with an extra new field. And there's always a debate going on whether it's a configuration versus customization. So it's good to know, because when you are at the front face of it, you get asked these questions, and you should be confident enough to say, oh no, that's not configuration. That's something we need to customize your platform. Then it also talks about your comms as a business analyst or as a process consultant. How do you need to prepare yourself to host a workshop? So after I'm not saying you have to host your workshop or the very first implementation, but after you've done a couple of ITSM, for instance, ITSM implementation, I think as BAs, we know a lot about process, if not so much about technology. So you can run through the process workshops with the new customers or with the existing customers. So this is an interesting read. Yeah, that's more about when you're starting as a BA. So it's a good spend of your time. I think you should invest in yourself if you're really interested to know more about it. Going from the associate journey, and it might say that it's just an 8-day, 14-hour course, but it takes time. It's not that just you need to read a textbook and then start. You need a lot of practice here. From associate, we come to the practitioner level of business process analyst. And that's where your agility comes in place. So most of the customers, or at least 80% of the customers, have now moved from a waterfall methodology to agile business practices. If you don't know about agile, I would highly recommend you to do some self-paced learning on agile and how do you go about it. It's an interesting topic to read, how a small product can benefit or provide value to the customer, and how you can keep on adding to the or iteratively building on the product instead of doing a one big bang approach. Now, while you are at a practitioner level, you need to understand what are the issues that you would face. So that's something that common obstacle and curveballs will impart you information on. If you have not done any agile or SAFe certification, I highly recommend you to read through this SAFe fundamentals. Also, we are currently in Utah, but at some stage, again, in 3 to 4 months time, we'll go to the newer version. So always good to keep yourself updated with what are the recent offerings. Go through the release notes. If you're just doing a Utah upgrade or any upgrade for a customer, go through their current instance, go through what they have implemented at this stage, and then compare it against what Utah is going to offer them. That's where you build your knowledge, and that's where you build customers' confidence in you. That, okay, if I've got any question about whether or not we should be going to Tokyo or Utah, they can straight away come and ask you that question. They don't really need to go through very techie guys to understand, no, is it going to add value or not?
Thanks.
Yeah, was there a question? Yeah, so I would highly recommend you to go through this journey from basic to practitioner and to professional. It would really answer a lot of your questions if you're planning to venture into your career as a business analyst or a process consultant.
Awesome.
Yeah, I'll stop sharing.
So it's all there, but you just need to.
It's all there. You have to grow your own knowledge. Also, while we are at it, I would also let you know that this is Now Create, which is part of Now Learning. And you can search on any, if it's specific to any product, whether it's an implementation or it's a, you're doing a build and deployment, or you're just doing a governance piece. 60 to 70% of the problems or 60 to 70% of the requirements are captured here. So if you go and pick up any topic and start looking into the starter stories, you would get to know, like, for example, if let's see if I can download that. So once you know the concepts around incident management, once you understand, okay, what's the goal for customer, what's the value statement, familiarize yourself with the starter stories, because that tells you what ServiceNow changes are required. So yeah, these are based on industry best practices. And again, I'm not saying all the customers would adopt to it, but they would you and the customer would definitely have a base of stories or base of requirements, because quite often they're not very clear in their head where they want to go to. So it would really help you in driving that communication with them. Sorry, Shan, over to you.
Awesome. So, Shruti, so I think we've got a question just popped up right now. Just a common question I get from people looking for PO. As a developer, I have an option on hand. There's some on hands a person can take as a BA role. Any tools that need to be available apart from ServiceNow.
So if I understand it correctly, it's for a technical consultant or a developer to move into PA stream or more onto functional side of things, right? Is that
yeah,
the
or as a
question?
fresher, if someone is looking to move into BA and to have some hands-on exposure.
First thing, I would strongly suggest that that person to familiarize themselves with the concepts of ServiceNow, do some reading, and get a personal developer's instance. So a PDI would really help you to visualize what you've been reading on the wiki sites. Then I'd also say go through the forums wherein common problems are discussed. Get to know from your customer what their problem statement is. There's a lot of information available. Try to look into the starter stories, try to look into the self-paced trainings that are available on Now Learning. And yeah, you can start with that. That would be a good starting point.
And is there any extra tool, like I have observed some BAs using some other platform to interact on the stories with a actual stakeholder? So is there any such platform or some extra knowledge we need to be aware of?
Yes, firstly, you need to understand the art of story writing, which is to how do you convert a one-line statement into acceptance criteria and into acceptable notes for your technical consultants and for your testers. So I strongly suggest you to familiarize yourself with Agile concepts and Scrum. Then comes your, at Third Era, we use ServiceNow project and portfolio management, actually strategic portfolio management, to do or run our projects. And you've got the capability of work notes to interact with your end user or with your customers. Having said that, it's not just ServiceNow who can do story writing. There are other tools such as Jira, wherein, and again, depends on the customer or the client that you're working on. So a couple of them use Jira to ensure that their story writing is happening there, and comment on that and get feedback on the stories on Jira itself. So that could be other tool you might have seen.
And I saw some flows also they prepare in some platform, draw.io, or there are some more platforms, right?
Yes. So as a process consultant, you of course need to map out the process journeys. So simple thing is a pen and paper or a whiteboard and a marker. But now that we are not working in office anymore and it's more virtual, So Draw.io is definitely one of them. I would I mean, my favorite is Visio in that case, because I find that very user-friendly to map out process journeys. You can also use, if you're creative enough, you can also use Miro boards. That's something I've seen a lot of CX teams using it, because Miro boards really are quite interactive, and you can easily switch from one journey to another, and you can map out your cards pretty well there. Then you've also got Trello boards and Mind Mapper, wherein you can just put hierarchy and tree diagrams.
Right. Nice. So someone also called out a very good thing out there. Ask a lot of questions that the BA and PPCs usually
I
do.
think we as BAs or PPC, you sometimes do an unthankable job, and everyone, you might sound as an enemy or not such a friendly person to other party, but that's because of you need to get to the bottom of it, and you need to ask a lot of questions, like someone has also pointed. You have to pull in your all inquisitive strengths to ask the hard questions and not take a no for answer. Like if someone's saying, I'm not going to answer you that, you have to learn of different ways and means to rephrase a question and ask them. Either you are knocking the door of an incorrect stakeholder, or you are asking the wrong story. So you have to be creative to ask those questions.
So Shruti, just one last question. I'm sure like we've already covered this, but some couple of pieces of advice that you have for people who are starting or are in the middle of their.
I think the best place to start is to familiarize yourself with ServiceNow concepts and jargons and the different offerings that ServiceNow has, and stay up to date with. I know it's a bit hard because you all are having your day jobs, and it's not always easy to understand, or spend that much time. But whatever time you can, you should spend in building your own capability and learning more about ServiceNow and the topics. You don't need to really learn into all the different applications, but something that interests you and you see yourself in. Then as business analysts, you need to understand the fundamentals of business analysis, such as asking questions, doing your requirements gathering, because unless you know the product well, you can't gather requirements on it, and you can't tell the customers or that this is something that can be done. Speak to a lot of stakeholders within your organization and their interpretation of a process. Not necessarily if that's achievable in out-of-the-box ServiceNow, but you need to understand where they're coming from or what their pain areas are. So definitely speak to them and get an understanding of process, map out this process in any tool that you like. Yeah, and like I said, get a PDI, gain some ServiceNow experience, or ask your friend who has a PDI if you're not very well versed with, plugins installation. Speak to your friends, build your network with them within the organization, outside the organization. The other key factor which is often ignored is your communication skills. And it's not just that, okay, I'll go and I'll talk to them about XYZ. You have to frame your conversations. You have to ask the right questions. And you have to ask a lot of negative questions to them without even thinking that, oh, what will that person think about me? So you have to stop procrastinating things.
Awesome.
And meetups like these are an eventful journey to learn more about the tool and learn more about how do you go about solving a problem.
Nice. Thank you, Shruti.
Hey, hi, Shruti, I have a question. Just now
Hi, Manas.
just now you saw us about the now learning app. Actually, we are also going through that because I'm also quite new ServiceNow. Mostly my background on Microsoft technology. So we are also going through this now learning app. So just show us now create. So what's that use for? Is it like you are going to set your goal on that? Because I saw you share one screen that now create. What is that use for?
Yes. So now learning and now create are the tools that ServiceNow has provided us to build on our skill set. Now learning has got a lot of free trainings and free courses. And it also has a lot of paid courses. So for example, if you go ServiceNow Administrator course, that's a paid course. But then there are some fundamental courses that you can do and, just to build upon your knowledge of ServiceNow. Now create, what that does is it offers you a methodology of implementing projects or how to go about project from the initiate phase to the go live and closure state. So in now create, like I said, in the initiate state, when you are planning for your workshops, it will give you artifacts and templates. How do you go about planning your workshop? When you're in the phase of story writing, it will tell you a baseline of stories that you should be considering, which are again based on industry standards. Then it will also have some training artifacts that if after implementation you have to train a customer on it, how do you go about preparing your training products and training packs? So, and then once you go live, how do you take a project closure? So it has got all of that. And it's to equip us as BAs and process consultants to know more about the product and to ask sort of right questions and dig deep into your requirements.
Okay. Okay. All right. If possible, can you just share it? I mean, how can I exactly do that on the
I'm sorry,
now
what
create?
was that?
Yeah, what I'm saying, is it possible you can share your screen? I just wanted to know how we can, go through this now create, because I'm also preparing for some of the citizen development program.
Okay.
So because we have these tools, I just wanted to know. Yeah.
Okay, so let me, where is my share? Sorry.
Sorry, I'll take you 2-3 minutes.
No, all good. I'm glad that you're asking questions. So your company, whichever, whether you're working with a partner or whether you're working in a different organization, should provide you access to Now Create. Third era, we are partner, ServiceNow Elite partner. So we've got access to Now Learning through that. Now you'll have to check in with your organization if they have access to Now Create and Now Learning, and then you'd be able, you just have to go Now Learning ServiceNow.com. That's it.
Yeah, Now Learning, I'm quite familiar with because I'm doing some of the course.
Yeah.
So I'm more concerned about this Now Create.
Now Create. Okay. So what you have to do, this is your learning portal, right? I shouldn't be showing you that. What you have to do is you have to suffix it with Now Create. That's pretty much it.
Yeah, I'm there already. Yeah.
And then you can go search for an asset.
Okay.
When you go to that page, you will be able to, again, I have got an implementation project for a design, build and unit test. And you can choose your product line like HR service delivery. And you will get to see the process guides that are there. How do you prepare for workshops? Then there would be some customer journey mapping. What's the sort of branding needs that you're there? How do you prepare for a customer workshop? And then there would be some starter stories and workbooks as well.
Okay. Okay. All right, Suti. Thank you so much.
Yeah, and Now Create is free as well. So I think you can even use your personal email ID. Like I do have an account with my personal email ID as well. That works. So
yeah.
All right. I think we are at the end of it.
I think I just wanted to add one more thing, Ishan, and not
sorry,
taking a
sorry,
lot
sorry.
of time.
No, we
For
don't have time.
no, that's fine. I'll let you go enjoy your Fridays. I think anyone, be it any role that you are looking into as a technical, as a solution, there would be a point in time where you have to make a choice that do you want to master one product line or do you want to be into multiple product lines? So that's an important call that you'll have to take at some stage in your career. And whenever you take that step, it's not that you have to be restricted to a BA or a process consultant or a developer. You've got other opportunities within ServiceNow to grow, such as you can be, like at least from the partner side, I can tell you, you've got opportunities like you can be a principal consultant or you can be a client principal, such as if customer has any problem, they come to you and they ask you a question, look, I have this problem statement, please do something about it. So you can be a portfolio manager that any project in an organization that comes for HR service delivery, people will reach out to you. Portfolio manager also referred to as capability owners in some companies. So just prepare yourself for that too. Think about what you need to do if you want to stay in ServiceNow. What is your aspiration to do in next 5 to 6 years? That's it, Ishan, from me.
Thank you so much, Shruti, for sharing all those insights and your experience as well. So yeah, I think we are at the end of it. Yep. So just to wrap up, if we don't have any questions, just to wrap up, like we will be having a Q3 meetup somewhere in August or September. So that will be an in-person one and at ServiceNow office here in Melbourne. So if you can join that, it will be great. And yeah, lots of new things coming out. We'll be having Vancouver release coming out, and with that we'll be having generative AI. So text to code, text to flow, text to making an application. So it's all coming out. Looking forward to that, and yeah, looking forward to seeing.
Hi, Ishan. Actually, I'm having one question. How can I get the recording of this session?
Yeah, also I'll be posting it on YouTube and also on the Meetup the group that we have. I'll post the link there as well.
Actually, I'm not in that group. Can you just add me in that group?
Okay. So how did you find this link? I'll post it.
Okay, on Meetup website.
Yeah, event comment.
Yeah, Meetup website. Yeah, and I'll be posting it on LinkedIn. I'll post on Slack, everywhere. So don't if you want, just share your email. So
Yeah, one second.
Ishan, for the next session, so usually you upload on the Meetup app, or how we get to know?
Yeah, I do share it on Meetup app and also on LinkedIn, also on Slack. So all the channels that I am aware of.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks, Ishan. Maybe I'll connect with you on the LinkedIn. Thank you.
Right. So here we are. And thank you, Chandra and Shruti, for joining us and walking us through the employee center and how to go about being a BA in ServiceNow. So yeah, thank you everyone.
Thanks, Ishan. Have a great weekend.
Thanks everyone.
Thanks everyone.
Thank you.